I sincerely apologize to all of you for being MIA for like a week. Last week was just nuts for me. I had a friend's bachelor party, same friend's wedding, then a birthday party, then a shitload of errands that really needed to get done. I barely had time to breathe. But this week has finally allowed time for that, so yeah, Daddy's here to bring back the reviews for all you crazy kids, and we're gonna start with... Nobody 2 is a sequel to the movie Nobody. This one once again starring Bob Odenkirk as Hutch. In this movie, Hutch wants a little break from being a hitman. He wants to take his family to this place that he used to love going to as a child, like this amusement park sort of town, sort of area. However, as soon as he gets there, he starts to notice that things seem a little, well, corrupt. Corrupt cops, the civilians are a little too, high and mighty, act like they run the place, which they evidently might. Soon enough, someone does something that pisses Hutch off, and now he's gonna beat some ass. The first Nobody was a very simple, enjoyable, just fun action movie. Felt kind of like a B version of John Wick. I mean, you have this guy, he seems like a complete nobody. Turns out he's a badass hitman. He beats the fuck out of some people, gets involved with some bigger stuff, and thus, there you have it. A straightforward action movie that completely worked in what it needed to do. So naturally, if a sequel is going to work, more or less, you just need to do the same things that worked with the first one, and I will say, more or less, it mostly does that. Bob Odenkirk, once again, he's great in this role, he embraces this role, and he feels like the perfect guy to play a character like this. Because Bob Odenkirk does not appear as someone who would be an assassin, a hitman, a badass, if you will. He seems like a complete nobody. A husband, a father, a guy who just, looks like he's just lived a life. Well, not like lived a life, but just seems like you're a typical middle-aged man. As a result, it can lead to moments that lead to very dry humor. It leads to him delivering some lines that you feel like only Bob Odenkirk could deliver and would work to such an extent. At the end of the day, he is this guy, he is this hitman, he's good at his job, but what I like seeing him with him is like he doesn't really want to live that life. He kind of just wants to chill, relax, take a break from it all. And that's what I like seeing with him. He's every other human being. He's a guy who's good at his job, works hard at his job, and he needs a break every now and then. And so, in the moments where he's gotta deal with some scumbag people, it really frustrates him because, I am on vacation. I don't want to deal with this shit right now. This is exactly what I came here to avoid. He's a hitman, but he's a surprisingly relatable hitman. For at least people who have maybe been married or have kids or certainly been in any kind of working force long enough. It just makes Hutch a really likable character in that. I thought that was cool. Also, I really liked Connie Nielsen in this movie. I feel like in this one, she plays a very supportive, loving wife to Hutch. She understands why he has the profession that he does. And in some ways, in this one, you feel like she's a little bit more supportive in what he's doing, maybe has his back a little bit more, certainly more so than I felt like she did in the previous movie, or at least what I remember. But she also at the same time will get on Hutch for setting a good example for their kids. If their son's getting into fights, she wants him to look at their son and be like, no, be better than that. Don't model your life after me. Be better than me. She's a supportive wife, but she's also that protective mother in the sense that she doesn't want her kids being steered in the wrong direction because of what Hutch does. It was the right balance, and it really worked. It felt real. And yeah, how's the action in this movie? The action's pretty fun. Some pretty brutal shots, some graphic violence, and what I love seeing when it comes to the action, and namely with Hutch in this movie, is really just what makes him such a great fighter and a badass hitman. Because unlike John Wick, where John Wick was skilled with every form of weaponry you could imagine, was an amazing fighter, was just absolutely able to kill everyone with one shot, Hutch isn't really like that. I would argue Hutch's great quality is just the fact that he refuses to fucking go down. He'll take some hits, he'll take some punches, he'll take some shots in this movie that have you go, oh man, it's just stay down, but he refuses to do it. To the point where the people fighting him are like, can you just stop? The fight's over. He's like, fight's over when I fucking say it's over. And he will just continue to lay into these guys until he's the last one standing. It's just an admirable quality in a hitman that I love seeing with a guy like Hutch. I would say when it comes to story in this movie, the story itself is pretty simple. It's pretty predictable in that sense. Show up to a town that he used to love, that they're on vacation. They realize some very illegal shit is going on in this town, and therefore there's a lot of corruption with, owners of certain businesses and police officers and sheriffs, and, you know, he ends up finding his way to getting to the bottom of it. Like, you kind of know at that point what it's leading towards, so as a result, it's not the type of movie that's throwing a lot of twists and turns in your face. And the movie does try to make it out like there are some characters that aren't really villains in the story, they're more so tragic characters that you're supposed to eventually care for. I'm not gonna say by the end I didn't care about these characters, but the problem is, like, in the beginning, we're supposed to see these people as the antagonists of the story. I wasn't, like, invested in them by then either. Like, the whole movie, you're just rooting for Hutch to do whatever he needs to do. If the script said that these people need to be taken out at one point or another, you would just go with it. Like, the movie does firmly understand that this is Bob Odenkirk's movie, and basically anyone who is not him, you're not really supposed to get invested over. But at the same time, I do feel the movie could have gone a little bit of an extra mile, namely with a couple characters in particular that it was trying to get us to care for. Like, maybe if they did a little bit more here and there with them, I would have been able to. And there are also some characters in this movie that feel straight up pretty waste. I mean, Riz is in this movie as Hutch's brother. I mean, he has one scene, actually I guess he has a couple here and there, but he doesn't do as much in this movie as I would have liked to have seen him do. I mean, I don't know, there are moments with this character I'm like, you seem like you could be really cool in a movie like this, and I don't feel like we're seeing enough of you, and that's kind of a disappointment. And even Christopher Lloyd at this moment, I mean, how fucking old is this guy now? Like, he must be pushing 90, so I get it. Him being Hutch's dad, they want to have him in the movie, but they can really only have him do so much because of his age. I don't know, part of me just felt at that point, maybe he just didn't need to be in the movie at all. You could have just left him out of it entirely, and it wouldn't have made much of a difference, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, but it's Christopher Lloyd. Honestly, I gotta say this right now, Sharon Stone is the villain of this movie. She fucking sucked. Like, there's not a nice way to put it. She's completely over the top. She's a total cartoon. There's nothing memorable about her in a good way. Like, you almost feel like she was trying too hard to be this intimidating boss bitch kind of villain. And pretty much every time she was on screen, I was more so rolling my eyes at her. Like, she wasn't the type of villain that I was rooting against because she was a strong, great, compelling villain. I was rooting against her because I just genuinely hated her character. Not even because she was evil, but because she was annoying. You know, it always takes, like, these hitman, assassin movies to the next level is if you can get a really compelling, memorable, like, scumbag villain in the sense that you want to hate them and root against them so the hero will win. You don't want one in the sense that you're just going to hate them because they're just kind of a shitty character played by someone who's giving a performance where clearly they're not trying as hard, or in Sharon Stone's case, trying way too hard. So all in all, yeah, pretty easy breezy review for you guys, but yeah, I thought The Nobody 2 was an enjoyable sequel. Bob Odenkirk is fucking great as Hutch. I don't think anyone else could play this type of hitman character in the way that he does. I liked Connie Nielsen in this movie. I liked seeing more of the dynamic between her and Hutch in this movie. The story's simple and predictable, but it does work for what it needs to work. The action is fun, it's violent, it's bloody. There are some shots that'll undeniably make you go, oh, holy shit, that looked like it hurt. Some characters that feel pretty wasted, some characters that feel forced, and some characters that just, well, weren't as good as the movie wanted them to be. And in the end, it's like this. If you enjoyed the first Nobody, you will probably enjoy this movie. And if you didn't really get on the first Nobody bandwagon, well, this movie's probably not going to bring you to that. Best way I would describe it. I'm going to give Nobody 2 a 6 out of 10, which I think makes it a movie worth checking out, but once it's streaming.
Sorry, I'm watching a movie on my iPad.
So that's all I got to say, guys. Thank you so much for watching my video, and as always, don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.